Happy Halloween!
So you played. Oh my god! I was not expecting that, obviously.
Then it worked. I was just gonna say boo really loud, but I was like, some people might be driving. Maybe I shouldn't. So we'll go like
Yeah.
somewhat
So let's
scary,
just have a
but-
screaming goat.
Uh,
Oh man. Well, yeah. I guess this is getting released on Monday there. So happy Halloween, everybody.
yeah, we would love to see what everyone's costumes are, especially if
Yeah.
you went as any Ducks players. That would be sick. If anyone
Yeah.
went as Getzlaff and went like full shaven the head cue ball, that would be perfect.
That would be great. That would be fun to do, actually. It wouldn't be the first time I've shaved my head either.
No, not for Halloween.
Could pull it off.
Yeah.
Could pull it off. So
Wow.
sorry, I'm still just I'm rattled by that goat scream.
It's a wild way to start it. It's a wild way to start it off. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I know we had last night, like we're recording on Sunday before the Leafs game, so we are not going to be talking about the Ducks versus Leafs. That'll be on Wednesday's episode, just to let everybody know. But yeah, I know we had the Halloween party last night.
That's good that you know that it happened. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, I remember everything luckily
Yeah.
from last night, but yeah, I know you were the DD last night, and like we went pretty late. Like, how are you just tired wise right now?
Good, because I slept for a long time.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I slept until like noon or so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
I guess I slept till like 11:30ish.
Which is late for you, so.
Yeah, but I didn't go to bed till like after 4.
Oh yeah.
By the time of like cleaning up and everything like that. So
oh, you cleaned up last night?
No, it's like it's still trashed out there.
Oh, okay.
I guess myself. So because I had all that green stuff in my hair, right?
Yeah.
So like I had to shower that out. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, I'm the one who does the laundry in this household. I am not dealing with all of that like over bed sheets and whatnot. So I'm like, we are showering before we go to bed. So
yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, so I didn't get to bed till like after 4 last night. So and I did have a snack as well. So I'm like, I gotta make sure, because we're doing this show this like today. I'm like, I gotta make sure I'm okay. So, and I also have like a family dinner after this. So I'm like, I cannot be sluggish. So,
yeah.
But
it was fun though. It was fun.
Yeah, it was good. So your guys' costumes turned out really well, by the way.
Yeah, I'm super pleased with how they turned out, considering it's like scraps from Value Village. It's we went pretty hard.
Where did you find that like vest thing that you were wearing though? Like that's not something you just find. Like
no.
Did you go to the back corner of Spencer's or something like that? Like there were some straps to that thing, my dude.
Yeah, no, it's actually just a women's leather jacket, like a fall jacket. So like there was like a lining in it.
Okay.
Yeah, just like a nylon polyester lining and like a little bit of white cotton and stuff. Like a smaller medium women's leather jacket. So I put it on in the store and I was like this. It was like my shoulders were just like scrunched up to my neck and like I couldn't move. And Erin was like, I think that'll work. And I was like, yeah, like look at this. It looks good. And then so we bought it and then she cut off the sleeves so that my shoulders could like actually stick out from it. Yeah. And then we cut along like the side as well and then just like punched holes in it with rivets and put laces in it so it was a little wider there too.
Oh, okay. I didn't see all of that because you still you kept your cloak on all night as well.
Yeah, it's because I wish I had a picture, but I don't have one really accessible. But underneath it, like first layer was just trench coat, and then it was that vest armor type thing. Because I went as Jon Snow. I guess I should say that Jon Snow from Game of Thrones for everyone that didn't remember. So trench coat, that vest, and then a bed sheet with fur on it for a cape. And I took off the trench coat underneath like half an hour into the party because like we got some pictures. I was like, okay, we're good. And then I had to keep the cape on because then I just looked like leather daddy Jon Snow because I had no sleeves. So I kept the cape on so that I didn't look like
and I guess if it's just a bed sheet, I thought it was something heavier than that.
No, so
it was kind of impressed with it.
Yeah, no, so I was actually like comfortable after I'd taken off like the 5-pound trench coat jacket.
Yeah, but there you go.
But yeah, no, it worked out quite well. So
yeah, and I guess to fill in everybody as well, because I know we talked about it in the last episode, but yeah, my girlfriend and I went as Cosmo and Wanda from Fairly Odd Parents. So it was like a bunch of like green stuff that I had in my hair basically to get that Cosmo hair.
Yeah, like
so,
that spray paint.
Yeah.
Like hair color stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So luckily it took me like less than a can. It took my girlfriend like 4 cans to color her hair.
Yeah.
So mind you, though, I have a lot less hair, just like length and just on my head in general.
Yeah, it's also lighter too, whereas
yeah,
like,
it
her
is
hair
lighter.
is dark. So
yeah, it is pretty dark. So, but
it worked out well for her too.
Yeah,
so.
last night was a good time. So I was laughing because you reminded me that I had something in my notes that we were going to talk about today. So there's like once I read the note, like the whole thing like came back to me. So there was at one point during the party, Carter was just hanging out in one of the couches, and I walked over and I sat on his lap, kind of like, like Santa does, or I guess not Santa, like little kids with Santa kind of thing, right? So Carter goes like, "Oh, like what do you want for Christmas, little boy?" And I just like joke, I'm like, "I want the Anaheim Ducks in the playoffs this year," and he just goes, "I'm Santa, not God." And I just lost it. I remember that. So I was like, okay,
you thought that was a good one
because I don't know if I'm gonna remember this in the morning. So, but like as soon as you're like, oh yeah, you have like a note in your phone. I'm like, oh yeah, right.
So sorry to any kids out there that might be wishing for Anaheim in the playoffs for Christmas. Santa's not a miracle worker. He can only do
probably
so
not
much.
Happening this year. So.
If you want to meet Trevor Zegras, he might be able to do that. If you want like some signed merch or something, like he might be able to do that. But he's not a miracle worker. He can't. He can't put the Anaheim Ducks into a playoff spot. So
no, exactly. Speaking of merch as well, at the time of this recording, for some reason, the Mighty Collection is still in review. I will post on Twitter when it becomes available on our website, tqrshop.myspreadshop.com or .ca if you're in Canada. Once that's finally available. So, and I guess with that though, we'll have another collection coming down the pipe pretty quickly here too. That like we have it ready. I just need to kind of figure out like what we're putting it on. Like obviously it'll be like t-shirts and that kind of thing. So, which is the specifics. So that'll also be soon here, and hopefully it doesn't take as long in review as the Mighty Collection is for some reason. Weird. So like this is the longest that like any of our stuff has like it normally like the latest has been like an hour or two. I think that it's taken before, and this has been like a few days now. Like I guess it's over the weekend. We'll see what happens on Monday, I guess, when this is released. But yeah, Mighty Collection should be soon, so I will let you all know on Twitter and Instagram when they are available. So
yeah, and if you are just right rattled and you want to just tear Nate apart just because you expected a Mighty Collection to be in your mailbox by like yesterday, you can leave us some feedback down at the link in the Google Forms there, just tearing us apart for how we're like, oh, look at this merch that you can't buy. Sucks to suck. Yeah, you can do that just down at the link, and we would really appreciate your feedback for improving the Quack report, and also just for how shitty our merch is.
I'm hoping
not that the merch is shitty, but I mean that like, it takes so long and you can't get it. You're like, this is so good, but come on, can we figure it out? Yeah.
It's not my fault. It's out of my hands at this point. So I'm just hoping that everything's kind of ready because like after Halloween passes, it's like, yeah, you got to start thinking about Christmas shopping already. And I'm like, crap. So if anybody wants some Quack Report stuff for Christmas, I'm hoping it's ready soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
yeah. Okay. Well, we do have a game to talk about against the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah. We'll try to keep it as positive as possible here.
Do you remember how positive we were after our first episode when we beat Seattle? We were like, oh, this is going to be a great season. This team is exciting.
We're just like, watch. Okay, like if they can play decent, it'll be fine. And
now here we are.
7 straight losses.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into it here. So, in case you have successfully wiped your mind of this game, here is your reminder that it was a 4-0 loss to the Vegas Logan Thompsons, and so first time Ducks were shut out this season. Probably won't be the last, but definitely the first.
Yeah, Logan Thompson's 3rd career shutout, and like
what's he played, like 20 games?
He's got a pretty young career. Yeah, let me double check that as you're just kind of talking about else with the game. But
yeah, I mean, we outshot our opponents for the first time this season as well, so that's a positive. Nice too.
Yeah.
Like we peppered Logan Thompson, and especially in the third period, I think we only allowed like 4 shots or something like that. I think
Yeah,
on that's where it is on Stolar's. Yeah, you only
yeah,
had to
that's
make 4 saves.
yeah, that's a good positive, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, no,
So
like
yeah,
fantastic. Like,
there's a few firsts actually in this game, surprisingly. So yeah,
mhm.
first time being shut out this season. Wah, wah, wah. First time out shooting an opponent. There you go.
Yeah.
I still don't have my keyboard set up yet. It's my fault at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, first time out shooting an opponent for the season. First time, I'll add, I guess, another one to this. First time that we haven't had at least like 32 shots against. We only had 22 against, so we're in the 20s against for the first time.
Oh, sorry, I forgot that's not what that one is. Nice.
And surprisingly, I guess, because we've played 8 games now. First time we've seen our black jerseys this year.
On the road, too.
Yeah.
Wasn't that weird?
Which I did anticipate that, because the Golden Knights for Nevada Day have always worn the white jerseys.
Why is that?
I think it's like I feel like it's something to do with like their state flower being white.
Oh, okay.
I feel like it's something. Oh no, apparently the Nevada State flower is a big sagebrush. So I forget what the reason is exactly then. But yeah, they've always done that for games on Nevada Day. But yeah, that's the first time the Ducks have worn their black jerseys this year, because the other 2 home games that we've had have been in the orange Mighty Ducks. So, but we were kind of talking about this as well, that like maybe Wednesdays are the new Fridays with how many Wednesday games the team has this year, that like Wednesdays are going to be the night for orange or something like that. But I don't know. We'll have to see. We're pre-recording this, or we're recording this before the Toronto game. So we haven't seen what jerseys they're wearing today. But if they're wearing orange today,
it's got to be the new home jersey
that they just didn't want to announce or anything like that for some reason.
Which would be stupid.
Probably because they would just have the comments on all their social media flooded with "about time." Like,
yeah, but then people would buy the jerseys if they didn't have one. I feel I don't know.
It's all interesting, to say the least. Anyways,
yeah.
Yeah, I guess another first for the year is Max Jones's fight. First of the year and first in a year, getting physical with Zach Whitecloud, who had his first career fight.
A lot of firsts.
Yeah, a lot of firsts there.
Just
so
popping all sorts of cherries tonight in this game.
Yeah, and speaking of popping stuff, can we talk about that Jamie Drysdale hit for a second?
Oh yeah,
that looked like it hurt. Like, yeah, that was not good. I'm just gonna be reading off my note. Yeah, basically, right? Wilhelm scream, but like, I have it in my notes here. I am not a doctor, and I'm gonna speculate here. I am not a doctor, but that looks like a separated shoulder, because I have seen a few of those before. That does, like, just the way that it hung there as he got up, like that,
like a wet noodle in the middle of Chicago on a windy day.
It's a great description. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Ehlers was saying as well, like on the broadcast, that like it wasn't a violent hit that Drysdale took, which, like, he is right.
It's like, a routine hit. It happens all the time.
You definitely don't need like a violent hit for a pop, like for a separated shoulder, though. I remember in lacrosse, I think I was, how old was I? I think it was 13. Yeah, it was my first year at Bantam, I think. There's one kid and I split between split goalie, right? And the other guy would play out. It was a game that I was playing goalie, and I picked up the ball and I fed him a pass, actually. They started hitting up the right boards, and same thing, just a routine. He's got hit routinely along the boards by a guy, and you just heard him like scream in agony, and he was out for the rest of the season with the separated shoulder. And yeah, like,
oh damn.
Yeah, same thing. Like, it wasn't a gruesome hit or dirty or anything like that. It was like it was shoulder to shoulder, and I think it was the one that like connected into the board is the one that that got separated for him. But Yeah, but like looking at this, like it wasn't violent, but it looked painful. Like it almost looks like his arm kind of gets pinned, and then as he like is kind of spinning and like it's kind of pulling away.
Because again, it's like twisted, like his arm gets
Yeah,
caught between him and the boards, but because the other guy's like brushing past,
yeah,
like the guy that hit him is like kind of twisting him.
it looks really awkward in one of those like, oh, like when you're kind of like watching it. Like we even
Yeah.
slowed it down just to get the idea of what was happening, and we're just like,
Mhm.
oh, like yeah, that doesn't look good.
Yeah, it's one of those
Um,
hits that you see and you're like, I don't know what's wrong with it, but something's not right. Like
something's
as soon as he
wrong.
got hit,
Yeah.
I was like, that's an awkward
Yeah.
hit. And then it showed him getting up and his arm dangling, and I was like, ugh, oh my god.
Yeah. So again, I'm purely speculating on a separated shoulder, right? Maybe by the time this episode comes out, we'll know more. Um, but and it depends on the severity of it too, right? Like, I remember there's a couple seasons ago in the PLL field lacrosse, there was a guy that separated his shoulder, um, had it like hanging as he's walking off the field, like Drysdale's was,
Mhm.
and they popped it back in. He went out for his next shift and scored a goal. Like
Oh wow.
I think he scored a 2-pointer actually, so that's like 15 yards out from the goal.
Wow.
And so like you can, yeah, like some are fine. You just kind of like pop them back in and you're good to go kind of thing. But
Yeah.
um I was taking a look just to, again, I'm speculating here, but judging with how like in pain he looked kind of thing. It wasn't just like a, oh, get up and head over kind of thing, right? Yeah, separated shoulders usually 2 to 12 weeks. Fortunately, without surgery most of the time.
Mhm.
But yeah, again, we'll wait to hear what the actual diagnosis is, and
Yeah, if we
even
don't
then
hear
we'll probably
anything,
just hear like upper body injury, right? But if
yeah.
the length of time that he's going to be out is going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah, like before this game, we might just hear upper body injury not playing, but
Yeah,
maybe
until they
maybe
know more.
Monday it'll be okay. He's had MRIs, X-rays, whatever kind of
Yeah,
scan they're probably going to end up doing. This is what's wrong. This is the length of time.
yeah,
We might it might be Monday. We see that. Well, I mean, we'll see. We might get it before the game tonight,
yeah,
but
we might.
yeah,
But
it's not looking good. I would be shocked if he came back like this week.
yeah, I would be too. So, and even then, like even if it's like he's feeling fine, I want to make sure this kid stays like healthy, right? Like
Yeah.
try to eliminate as much lasting effects as possible,
Hmm.
or minimize as much lasting effects as possible and that kind of thing. Don't rush him back, right? Because like don't know if you looked at the standings lately. Like it would be great to have him on the ice, but it's
Hmm.
it's not like we're making a playoff push right now or anything like
Yeah.
that. Like let him heal. So
Hmm. Uh, I'm going to relate this back to a different team as well, the Oilers. Oh, go figure. He's going to talk about the Edmonton Oilers. But the shoulder injuries, especially for defensemen, are not something to screw around with. Um,
yeah,
I don't know how many people listening to this would really know who Oscar Klefbom is, but he was like the Oilers' number one defenseman for a few years and like legit number one defenseman. Um, and his big thing was like he just had a wicked shot from the point, and he's been out on LTIR for like the last 2 or 3 years, and at this point he's probably never going to play an NHL game again. And he was like 20 something, early 20s.
yeah,
But same thing, shoulder surgery. It wasn't because of a dislocated shoulder. I don't totally know what it don't I don't remember exactly what the injury was, but yeah, because like you can't be an NHL defenseman with a bum shoulder.
no,
Bec
and
like
yeah, like let I was gonna say like an NHL defenseman, let alone just like your daily life kind of thing.
yeah,
Because like kind of near like the end of season 3 for us there, like I had really screwed up my shoulder badly. I was out of commission basically. Like I couldn't go to the gym or whatnot for it was like 3.5 months.
yeah,
Just with like rest and that sort of thing. I had like I remember one morning I woke up and I couldn't hold my arm farther than like 6 inches in front of me kind of thing. Like before it was just like extremely painful. It wasn't like a shoulder separation, obviously, but like just your shoulder is so integral to your everyday life,
Mhm.
right? That like you have to make sure that it's fine.
Yeah.
So
For Clef Bomb, I remember like one of the big conversations a couple of years ago. I can't remember if it was him that said it or if it was like one of the coaches at the time or whatever, but it was like he's basically making the decision of if he wants to continue his NHL career and ruin his shoulder or if he wants to retire from the NHL and like maybe be able to lift his kid one day. And like when you
yeah.
put it into that perspective, you're like, "Oh, holy fuck. Like I wouldn't play in the NHL
Well, and
if that was the choice,
yeah.
right?"
And there's more times that like guys are thinking about it that way now, which is
Which
good,
yeah,
obviously,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
I know listening to the I think it was Wednesday's episode of the Steve Dangle podcast. They were talking about that for Jake Muzzin, right? Of like, do you want to be able to like go run around with your kids kind of thing? Or like, yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure just to see
Mhm.
that kind of mentality, right? Because like I get it with playing professional sports, you only have like a small window to make what you'll kind of rely on for the rest of your life, right? Unless you're
Mhm.
like into investing and that kind of thing too.
Yeah, or you want to
Or
be a coach or
or
whatever,
yeah,
or
or
like
like you
some other part of the game,
you
yeah.
do more after, but like that's gonna be the basis, right, of what
Mhm.
you live on for the rest of your life. And because of what you put your body through, that's why like these dollar amounts that these guys are getting are so high, right?
Mhm.
Like what job wouldn't you love that minimum salary for you is is $750,000 per year,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, right.
But that's the reality of it is like it's so high because of what these guys put their bodies through, right? Because I think
Mhm.
it's um I think besides like football kind of thing, right? Like hockey is one of the
Mhm.
more like physically demanding in terms of like injury risk or whatnot,
Mhm.
like sports in the world, right?
Yeah. For
So
mainstream ones anyways, yeah.
yeah,
Obviously like WWE, boxing, like any sort of martial art ones are the same sort of thing,
yeah,
but yeah, like it definitely for like the big four American sports, like it's
yeah,
football and then hockey for sure. So, so yeah, long story short, like I just hope that they do this right with Drysdale, keep him out, make sure he's recovered because you don't want to risk another injury to that shoulder. So,
yeah, and
uh,
especially him being so young, right? Like you want
yeah,
him to have, like you want him, and he wants to have a good career, right? But
yeah,
even at this age, like you gotta stop. You got like you have to start thinking about like life after hockey, even, which like does
hmm
sound ridiculous, but I think it was Provocateur. They were kind of talking about that too, right? Of just
hmm
like agents even being like, okay, yeah, it's like your first season or two kind of thing, but like let's not blow all your money because you never know what could happen. Like you have to think about life after hockey kind of thing. Like you got here, but now you have to think about what's after it.
yeah, exactly.
Like from a young age. So
Yeah, like you could get hit in your first NHL season, have a concussion, and never be cleared to play ever again,
mhm.
right? Or you know, absolutely shatter your knee, never be able to play again, like anything
Yeah.
like that, and you just blew your entire salary on the NHL, and now you have from the NHL on whatever, and now you have no other skills to like
Yeah.
carry you into the job market, right? So like
Yeah.
it's
It's
scary stuff,
scary.
yeah.
Yeah.
So so yes,
Yeah.
like
I
it
hope
sucks that
he's
Drysdale is going
okay.
to be
Yeah.
out, but like take the time to do it right. If 12 weeks is what it takes, that's what it takes. So,
Yeah.
um, but hopefully not. Again, we're just speculating on what it looks like, but it's something along those lines, anyways.
Yeah. We'll suffer the same without him as we would with
Yeah,
him right now,
yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
but um
So
yeah.
yeah,
The other
back to the game,
yeah.
I suppose. Well, this is still the game, but other things, more happy things
Yeah.
potentially.
I mean, I don't know if that's exactly happy. I just have the note of like shorthanded goals against Hurts. So,
Well,
but
it's
like,
less of an existential crisis than what we
yeah,
just talked about. So,
we the last couple of episodes we've been talking about like 2-on-1s, 2-on-2s, and that kind of thing. I don't think there
Mhm.
was, I mean, from my perspective, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong on how this got played of Fowler
No.
and who was his partner on it. Was it Klingberg for this? I
I don't know.
remember offhand,
It
but
might have
like,
been Kulikov. Oh wait.
oh yeah, it might.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
it might
this
have
was on
been.
the power play though. So
Yeah. Anyway, though,
maybe. Yeah, I don't
it
know.
was just like it was Riley Smith. Riley Smith is a smart player, and it was just last minute he created separation between him and Fowler. Like I don't think it's anything like necessarily
No.
on Fowler or that kind of thing.
No, I
Like
thought his positioning was fine. Like
yeah,
it's just one of those opportunities where Smith made a move on him and just like outsmarted
yeah.
Fowler, I guess, in a way. Like
Yeah, like besides being like, hey, like don't have shorthanded goals against, like the actual play itself isn't something I normally bring up, but just because we've been talking about like obviously the defensive aspects of this team for however many seasons at this point, but like really diving in even just like how like if we were in their position, and again, we're not NHL players by any means, but
mhm,
like just kind of like knowing basics even, right? Of like maybe how this should get played better. Because like you're in that position, you're doing it split second, right?
yeah.
Like decisions and whatnot. And we're able to, like go back, look at tape, like they're able to do after, right? And
Mhm,
like watch it multiple times. Okay, figure out what could be done better next time and try to improve on it, right? We
yeah.
can like we don't get the chance to improve on it. We just go, this is how you should improve, kind of thing. Yes, and
Yeah.
totally listen to two 25-year-olds from Southern Alberta that have never played an NHL game in their life, but besides like the EA ones. Um,
Yeah. But like we
but
grew up around hockey though,
yeah,
so it's in our
we
blood.
like to
Yeah.
think we know what we're talking about here, and I mean,
And most times I think we do, but
if you're listening to this show, I guess you kind of think we know what we're talking about a little bit too. So
yeah. The thing with this is like just stick with me for a sec. It's gonna sound like I'm bashing Fowler, but I swear
okay,
I'm not.
all right,
I like because Fowler's a veteran defenseman, like he obviously knows how to play 99% of situations in the NHL. And again, in this particular instance, I thought the way he played it was fine, but because he's been around for so long, he has like a way, or he probably has like a way of like playing these 2-on-1s and like knows how to do it and like what the best option is. But sometimes like I feel like it can be hard that when you do get beat on a 2-on-1, you're like, oh well, I still played it right, so I'm just gonna keep playing 2-on-1s this
Mhm.
way. But obviously, Riley Smith found an exploit in our defense on a
Yeah,
2-on-1 and took advantage of it and scored a goal, right? So this isn't on Fowler to I don't I don't think it's on Fowler, but that's where a coach somewhere along the way needs to step in and say, hey, you're a veteran defenseman. The way you play that is fine, but you need to like keep in mind a plan B or a plan C for when Riley Smith or someone else tries to make the same move on you. This is how you now need to adapt and change it. And if he doesn't get that from a coaching staff member, then it's just going to be something people are going to exploit because look, shorthanded goals are rare, but every team wants to score one. So
yeah,
when other teams are going to watch this tape before they play the Ducks, and they're going to attempt to do this move again, and that's not what you want. So somebody needs to say to Fowler, we need to establish a plan,
yeah,
and it's possible Fowler knows what he needs to do. I'm sure,
yep,
like he's a smart player who's been around for a while, but there needs to be that rapport with the coaching staff as well because there other teams are going to try and exploit that. So there needs to just be a greater awareness and like a bigger deal made out of it, I guess, in a way,
yeah. No,
if
that
that
makes
makes sense.
sense. I do have the clip up here, and I am kind of looking at it again. Again, like it's on the power play. Silverberg's trying to get back, but like even what he's doing against Carlson there is like it almost looks like he's just swinging at air kind of thing. Like he's trying to do a stick lift on a left-handed guy, but he's trying to do it on the right side.
Oh yeah.
Like as he's behind him, it's like you're not gonna reach there, dude.
Yeah.
So,
Do you,
but like no, like
obviously we can't show the clip, but can you like maybe show a couple like freeze frames of it on
yeah,
here?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, see if we can here. Um,
Kind
yeah,
of do
here we go.
some general frame by frame stuff.
Yeah, I think if we go like frame by frame, it's not an issue. I could be wrong though.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And I mean, like technically we can show clips, but YouTube just burns us for it. So they don't
yeah.
understand copyright law. But
Yeah, so even here, oh, I don't want to Okay, here we go. Now I'm in. Yeah. So you can see like he's just like he's swinging at air,
Yeah.
right? Like there's nothing there.
But like
However,
he puts his stick on the other side though, and that immediately that pass is coming across, right?
yeah. So it's I don't know. In that case, it's yeah. Try to get up there, but like at this point, like, here he's already gliding, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But and then like takes another push. Yeah, like your stick's nowhere. And again, like I know Silverberg's not a defenseman, but like your stick's nowhere like for it to be useful. You might as well just be skating alongside the guy.
Yeah.
Aller, however, like and it's one of those things where it's like I'm not blaming him even as much on it because he's playing this how if I'm in Gibson's position, he's playing this how I would want him to, right? He's more trying to cover
Mm.
off the pass. He's trying to have like the closed gap on the potential like cross, right?
Yeah.
So like I have no issue with how Fowler's doing it. That's why I said like yeah, Smith just outsmarted Fowler and
Mhm.
just gained some separation there when Fowler wasn't looking that way. So
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah. So it's just yeah, and then it's unfortunate because obviously it's a shorthanded situation too, so you're
Yeah.
not really prepared to be defending a 2-on-1 generally. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't
The fact
like
that we let in
ideally
a shorthanded goal definitely sucks.
it just sucks the wind out of you. Like that's to me
Yeah.
that was like the TSN turning point there of the
Yeah,
game.
and that's only a 2-0 goal, right? Like that's something you like could otherwise come back, but like
Mhm.
just that extra like oh it's short-handed, right? Like they had less guys than us and they essentially got a 2-on-1
Yeah.
um there. So but um Stellaris appears in this game as well. It's his third game in relief of Gibson in only 8 games, and he has 1 start
Mhm.
this season. Gibson got better for a couple games, and it looked fine. This one, he didn't look as there again. Like it's kind of the midway point in a way of
Yeah.
the last couple of good games that he's had and the horrible ones that we were seeing like at the start of the road trip.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you chalk that up to an early start? Like an early puck drop?
maybe a little bit, but at the
Because
same time, if you want
Gibson's
to,
like a very routine guy, right? Like
yeah, but if you want to look down the other end of the ice, sure, he's a younger guy, but Thompson was in the exact same situation.
that's true. Yeah,
Early
that's true.
start, right?
Yeah.
Like this, like everybody on the ice is in the same situation. This is not normally when you're playing a game,
Yeah.
right? At like 3:00. Like you maybe have a matinee game or two in the season as a whole,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, Stellars though wasn't very busy in his 20 minutes of play. He made all 4 saves that he had shot against him. I
Which
don't know.
is what you can ask for when you're trying to come
Yeah,
back in a game, right? So
but like just seeing like how many times he's had to come in relief already, right? Like and 2 of those were back to back, and he's only had 1 start. But like
mhm.
overall, he's been your better goalie.
Right? Like
Unfortunately, like
well,
fortunately, but unfortunately.
yeah, we talked about this last
We
week,
did.
I
I'm just
feel. So like
and
I don't want to talk about it too much, but like why is he not getting more starts?
yeah,
Like that's the question
I'm
and
at the
there's no
point that
answer.
I'm at the point that I need to see more Anthony Stolarz, please.
Yeah. So it's
So, because yeah, like he's not running horrible numbers or anything like that either. Like his expected goals against 6.83, his actual is 7, so he's at a negative 0.2. Like he's doing exactly what he should,
mhm.
right? Is not incredible or anything like that, but like that's a guy that you at least feel solid with between the
Yeah.
pipes.
Yeah, exactly. So
So
it's
and like
it,
it's
when you're trying to win, like why not? We're shaking up the defense. We're shaking up the forwards. Why are we not shaking up the goaltending? It's a
yeah.
no brainer to me, and I literally don't get it.
And
So
even then, like some of the shaking up has been pointless, right? Like, one more time, we are recording this before the Toronto game, but the
yeah,
practice lines yesterday had Terry and Zegras split up. I get that you're trying to generate something, but the pairing of those two forwards
mhm.
is not your issue here. I don't
No,
think.
And offense in this game, honestly, I don't think it was an issue. We had some great opportunities, and Logan
Yeah.
Thompson was a brick wall. Like I don't know, maybe you
Yeah.
have the low danger versus high danger chances again, but like
Uh,
still, he stopped
yeah.
all the high danger chances. So that's yeah, it's just insane.
Yeah, in terms of Anaheim's shooting, actually, I'm double checking this here. Anaheim actually had no high danger shot attempts. 5 medium and 33 attempts were all low danger.
Interesting. I mean,
So
I would argue that there was some high danger chances. It's been a couple days, obviously, so
yeah,
I don't know exactly what I couldn't like pinpoint them, but I don't know. To me, we had high danger chances that Logan Thompson was in great position, so maybe that made them medium danger. I don't know, but
yeah. If here, I'll pull up the heat map for the people that are watching, especially. And if you're just listening to us on podcast, we are available on YouTube as well, where you can see kind
and
of some of the visuals that we're looking at too.
yeah, and Twitch. Well, I guess Twitch is for our live stream ones. Sorry, so yeah,
Yeah.
this is just on YouTube.
But here, so this heat map is from Natural Stat Trick. We'll ignore the Vegas side. We know that our defensive system allows guys to just skate right into the middle, and you can see all the goals there. Taking a look at Anaheim, though, right? It's you kind of have that Zegras spot, I'll call it, right?
Yeah.
Just like that facing the goalie, the right dot there, just outside of it, closer to the blue line, and like just inside the left circle, basically. Like there's a couple chances in there, like in the slot kind of thing. But and again, like Vegas is decent on defense, right?
Oh yeah.
But like they're not who were we just playing the other day that we were talking about, like how like good their defense is overall otherwise.
Boston?
Oh, Tampa.
Oh, Tampa. Yeah, obviously.
But like in my opinion, Tampa has a better defense overall than Vegas does. Both like in terms of like their like both in terms of like their lineup for it and
like their structure,
their system, and it's like and their team defense, right? It's not just like relying on the two guys there.
Yeah.
But like we're being forced to the outside, not like great spots, unfortunately. And like this has been kind of reoccurring the last few games, especially now.
Well, look at the Golden Knights side. I know you said you weren't going to talk about it, but like this is the ideal thing. Like when coaches draw things up on the whiteboard, these are the spots that they're like, I want you to shoot from here, as close to here as possible. And they're just allowed to do it. Like there's the two defensemen don't even have to move. They're literally parked on our side, on inside the blue line, but where the face-off dots are. That's where the coach draws the X's, saying shoot from here. And like we barely have that. Like we're taking shots from basically the boards, which I can shoot from there all day. I'll let you. But no. And then right in the slot is where the other ones are coming, or like that home plate area between the circles, like the hash marks down. I guess it's more from the dots in the face-off circle down to the crease. That's entirely where the shots are coming from. Are we even trying to play defense?
I don't know. I'm kind of on the thing that like, yes, some of our guys maybe have some improving to do or have regressed in the case of like a Shattenkirk or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I'm the more I look at it though, I just see it's a structure weakness rather than the individual guys. Because you can see that besides maybe like clearing pucks like we've talked about, you can see that like you can see effort in the plays at least, but their system is what's holding them back.
We talked about it. We talked about it at the beginning of the episode, or sorry, the beginning of the season too. And we'll get to some notes from 32 Thoughts as well. Jeff Merrick even said in the latest episode that he thought that the Ducks had like a solid defense. Like, yeah, it's different than last year and it's not maybe as physical, but like we have good defensemen. Drysdale, Fowler, good defenseman. Shattenkirk, good bottom pairing defenseman. Beaulieu, Benoit, Vakanainen, like those are decent bottom four defensemen. Who am I missing? Kulikov, we talked about him, like solid shutdown defenseman. Like We have solid defensive defensemen, and we're not defending. That's a structure problem.
Yeah,
It's not one guy, and there's no way it's all the guys sucking ass at the same time. It's a structure thing.
yeah, it's painful to watch,
It
honestly,
is. It
because
really
you're
is.
like, you can see the issue, but nothing is being done about it. So,
Yeah.
I'm just
It's
gonna
it's the
sorry,
definition of insanity there. So,
yeah, doing the
but
same thing over and over again and expecting different results. You have a note here about the 11-7, and then we can take a break and then talk
yeah,
about
sure.
Freeman's
Yeah.
points, actually, since you brought it up.
Yeah, sounds good. I because the Ducks played 11 forwards, 7 defensemen in this game against the Vegas Golden Knights. Um, and also I just saw some comments on like Ducks Twitter, and I just want to clear up. I'm obviously by no means an expert on coaching systems and the 11 forwards, 7 defensemen thing, but some of the comments I saw were like, because McTavish was technically that fourth line guy that like didn't have like a set line. And
Mhm.
when you're going 11-7, you don't really have set lines. Generally, the way I've seen it is you run 3 centermen and then you have 4 of each wings. That's like whether it's international hockey or other
Yeah.
teams in the NHL I've seen, that's what it is. So, but the reason you do that is because you have um well, it depends. You can do it if you have a lack of centers, which the Anaheim Ducks don't. We actually have a lot of centers,
Mhm.
but um, but it still kind of works because then you have your 4 winger lines, but there's still not really like you don't really have a 1-4. Like you might have your top line winger pairing, but then like McTavish and Lundestrom, I believe, were kind of that 4th winger pairing. Um,
Yeah.
but they'll end up playing with Zegras at some point, or they'll end up playing with Henrique, which are top line guys, right? So like it really messes with the matchup system, I guess. So even though McTavish was quote the 4th line guy because he was on the 4th line that the Ducks tweeted before the game, that doesn't mean he's playing 4th line minutes. I mean, I doubt he played 20 minutes that night, but
Um, Sorry, who? One more time?
like McTavish, just how,
McTavish?
yeah. What I guess I have the notes up
McTavish
here.
played 1607.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's not a ton of minutes, but it's also not 4th line minutes,
Yeah,
right? So
the lowest guy in terms of minutes for the forwards was Jones at 11:49 there.
okay, but anyways, the forwards aren't really the issue with 11-7. The reason you go 11-7 is because your defense sucks. That's essentially what it like. You don't have maybe the depth you want on defense, or something's not working. So you're
Yeah.
saying I'm going to sacrifice a little bit of offense because we have our offense is generally good on paper. Our offense is fine, like especially top 6. Like we should be able to score goals, and it shouldn't like line chemistry isn't as big of a thing for this Ducks team
Yeah,
because I think
they just need better chances. That's all it is.
yeah, exactly. Because like Zegras and Terry can play together. Zegras and Strome and Vetrano can play together. Zegras can play with McTavish and Pavel Regenda. Like it doesn't matter who Zegras is playing with. Good things are going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Same thing like throughout the lineup. But for a defense, like we basically only have the 6 or the 7 guys that can play. And if one of them has a bad night, like slash Benoit or Bolio or White, whoever is in, then you don't want to bench him because then you're running 5 defensemen, and that's a lot of minutes for your defenseman. So
Yeah.
you go 7. So if one guy's not having a good night, you can kind of just not play him, and then you can just kind of rotate in who is playing, or like it allows you to say take some minutes off of Cam Fowler, who I don't know what his numbers are, but he probably averages 20, 25 minutes a night, I would say. Same with Klingberg, but it allows you to
Mhm.
rest those guys a little bit more because you have that 7th guy that you can rotate in, and it just
Yeah.
allows you to get different matchups, a lot of fresher guys. So in theory, we should have had a better defensive game. Um, I don't think we did against the Golden Knights, but I think it, I don't think the Ducks have ever gone on 11-7, so it's definitely a new thing. Honestly, I would like to see it more.
Oh, we did it quite a few times last year.
Did we? Okay,
Yeah, we did.
and I just blanked it out
Yeah,
apparently. I don't
no,
know, but
that's fair.
yeah. Okay, but yeah, I don't know. I would.
There's a few things I'd like to blank out just about
Yeah.
about the Ducks every now and then, but
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I don't know. I would like to see it more. It obviously didn't quite pay off the way we maybe wanted it to against the Golden Knights in this game, but I think with how our forwards are, it's a good thing to do. And I don't know, maybe the 7 defensemen is a way of compensating for our lack of defensive structure and systems. But like,
it
I don't know
didn't
what
work.
I don't know. What do you think, Nate? Because Ducks Twitter was not pleased about this, and
Yeah.
so I kind of feel like I'm the only one that is okay with it. And if it is, like, so be it. But I don't know. I just want to know your thoughts too.
There's definitely times that it works. I think it's if though, like it's if you are stronger all around with having that 7th guy on defense that you can rotate in throughout, right?
Yeah.
In the case of the Ducks, though, it doesn't make you stronger whatsoever. It, I think, actually makes you a little bit weaker because your offense is where your stronger points are, right?
Mhm.
Your defense is what needs to improve, and throwing another guy into the mix with not as much consistency in lines then
Yep.
is not the way to go, I don't think. And I mean, like, again, it's only one game of, I guess, 11-7, right? But like, it didn't look to have any effect,
Yeah,
at all, right?
that's fair.
So,
yeah.
but
I guess too.
the Ducks aren't in a position, I guess, just to like, yeah, to wrap it up, the Ducks aren't in a position that it benefits them at all.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess too.
Like, I'm not
it would-
against the 11-7 system, but
Yeah.
it has to be worth it, and it's not for the Ducks, at least with how it's constructed right now and who's at the helm.
Yeah,
and the system that they're trying to run through.
yeah, that's fair.
So
yeah, I guess like the what I saw people complaining about it on Twitter just like wasn't maybe quite the right mindset in a way. So
yeah,
I maybe
like, there is just complaining about it
it,
for like
yeah.
the sake of complaining about it, right? Like,
Yeah,
but I can see,
like, obviously it didn't work. Like, so
yeah.
like, don't do it again. But like, the reasons that people were giving are not the reasons to not do it
so
again,
what were the
right?
reasons that people were giving? I guess then maybe
Like-
I'm missing it. I'm
like
missing on this part.
Like for McCavish and Lundestrom being like those 4th line guys, and like it looks like they're not going to play a lot of minutes. Like, no, that's not how it works, because your forwards end up rotating so much.
Okay. Yeah.
And like we saw, McTavish still played 16 minutes. Like, that's decent numbers for McTavish, and that's probably all he's going to get under Dallas Eakins, because that's what Zegras got last year, right?
Because the white gloves for the rookies. Yep.
Yeah. But so yeah, so don't complain about it for the reasons of our forwards. Complain about it for like defensive reasons, I guess.
Yeah.
Which I didn't quite see as much of on Twitter. So
yeah,
and I guess too with the 11 the 7 forwards. No, one more time. With the 7 defensemen, you do that because you're not sure how the game is going to be played, and you want to have different options of who you play on defense, right? Like, you're not sure how the other coach is going to play it, and it's not because of like a lack of understanding the coach, but like some teams can play really physical and really just like sit back and like not hit and just, be good in positioning. Like, the same team can play that way defensively. Like, look at say Colorado. They can just box you out in defense, but they can also play a physical game if they want.
Yeah.
Same with Tampa Bay too. Like, it's a cup winning team thing. But with the Ducks, like, I don't think we have those 7 defensemen that we can like rotate through to change the way our defense plays. If we still had Lindholm and Manson, yeah, absolutely.
Yes, because it did work better. It worked better at times last year for sure.
Yeah,
but that's when you have those 2 guys in there.
You have defensemen that play differently, and then you can dictate how your defense defends. But now we switch Benoit out for Beaulieu. Who gives a shit? It's the same thing. Even when Vakanainen comes back, same thing. Like, I don't know. You put like Fowler and Shattenkirk, Fowler and Drysdale. Like, yeah, Shattenkirk and Drysdale aren't the same caliber of NHL player, but they're going to play the same way, right? Like, Shattenkirk and Drysdale are going to try and box you out, and they're going to be offense first defensemen. They're not going to throw big hits around and make you scared to touch the puck, right? Like,
yeah, Drysdale especially on like on the physical side of it. So just because he's not the new NHL defenseman is a lot smaller than we're used to seeing, right? So like, give it another 5 years, Drysdale's going to be the norm in that respect, right? So,
I'd say he already kind of is.
Yeah.
But that's a totally different conversation. So
yeah,
we won't go down that rabbit hole yet. But
yeah, you're right. Like, yeah, just they're like a little bit more offensive minded, trying not to have like recency bias or anything like that. I'd almost argue that Drysdale, and like not even just like with line placement though, but like just you're watching clips of him and whatnot. Like Drysdale is time and time again better on the defensive side than Shattenkirk is.
100%. Oh, yeah. But and it's like, because he's faster, and I don't want to say smarter, but like his brain, his legs can keep up with his brain, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So, but yeah, just like he's more defensively aware, I guess, than Shattenkirk seems to be.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would say that's a good way of saying it. So
yeah. All right.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, maybe we'll see 11-7 again, but if we do, I want our defense to look different than what it looks like now. So okay, we can take a quick break because I think that's all we wanted to say about the Golden Knights game. That's it. It only took 40 minutes to get through it all, but that's it. On the other side, we've got some more thoughts on Dallas Eakins and what's going on with him. We'll do the upcoming game predictions. And we have a bonus What's Quacking, even though we normally only are doing it on Wednesdays now. We came across something that's just way too good to pass up. So stick around till the end for that. It is hockey related this week. So it's a good one. So make sure to stick around till the end, and we will be back in just a couple of minutes here. And shout out to DraftKings, promo code THPN. See you on the other side.
Hockey fans, it's finally time to hit the ice again. And thanks to DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, you're in for the season of a lifetime. New customers can bet $5 on any team and get $200 in free bets if they win. Maybe you want to take the odds on Mason McTavish winning the Calder Trophy for Rookie of the Year this year. He has the second best odds on DraftKings Sportsbook behind Matty Beniers of the Seattle Kraken at plus 500. And if that wasn't enough excitement, you can turn small bets into bigger payouts with same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets like which team will win, how many goals will be scored, and more for your shot at an even bigger payout. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. So, what are you waiting for? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, use the promo code THPN, bet $5 on any NHL team to win their game, and get $200 in free bets if they do. Again, that's code THPN, as in the Hockey Podcast Network, only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
I just want to say, too, that if you're like, oh, I'm just a casual fan, like I don't really know too much about sports betting, so I'm not really going to like do anything with that. I'm going to say it doesn't even really matter, because now this is something totally different, because this is a Yahoo like ongoing fantasy league. So you draft at the beginning of the year and that's it. But me and you are obviously in a league together with just a bunch of casuals, and your girlfriend is in this league with us, and I'm facing her this week in the league, and obviously I follow hockey very religiously, and so I know what's going on, and generally I do pretty well in fantasy leagues, like and when I do bet with DraftKings, I do fine generally. So this week I have, and this might mean nothing to somebody, or to a lot of people, but my goalie stats are 4 wins, a 1.61 goals against average, and a 955 save percentage.
And how many goalies are you carrying again?
I carry 3 goalies, and they are Stuart Skinner, Yusei Saros, and Jeremy Swayman. So like decent goalies. And And they had a pretty good week. And like, even if you know nothing about fantasy hockey, like a 1.61 goals against average, that's really good for a week. 955, if goalie's carrying that, looks great. Your girlfriend, who is, she knows hockey, she knows a lot of players, but is definitely a casual fan compared to me and you.
Yeah.
Enough that she knows players and like isn't just drafting based off of like how cool their name is or like what team. Oh, the Flames. That's a cool like name for a team. I'm just going to draft them. Like she knows things about it.
She purely drafted Jonathan Huberdeau in that first round just to spite me.
Yeah, but yeah, she's just in it for fun. Like she's throwing shit at the wall, seeing what sticks, kind of thing, right? For like, and I'm not trying to like bash her, but like
no, but yeah, it's
so like I'm just trying to say like she's just a casual fan, but she's beating me, who has fantasy hockey spreadsheets, spends hours a week trying like managing his fantasy teams and trying to figure out who to drop, who's the best pickup for this week and all that stuff. Do I want to use my ads on this? Like all that shit. Yeah. Right. And she's edging me out with 5 wins, a 0.84 goals against average, a 975 save percentage, which is unheard of, and 3 shutouts. And so I'm losing the week against her. So like if the long-winded way of saying like it doesn't matter if you're a casual fan, if you just want to throw a couple bucks down on something, like you might just, I don't want to say get lucky, but if you're like I only have limited hockey knowledge with the Ducks. If you throw $1 or something on like Zegras scoring a goal, like and it could pay out, or like if you could do the daily fantasy stuff, like sometimes just dumb, educated guessing can get you further than hours of Excel spreadsheets. And again, I'm not trying to bash your girlfriend.
Yeah, I know.
Like it's.
Okay, here I'll balance it out then, and I'll talk about it too. So like we're at like the desk that I'm sitting at here. We're both at the same desk. She has her computer, and I have my setup obviously. And like she's kind of asking me because like once we kind of got past like round 1 and 2, maybe 3, right? Like they were kind of running out of guys that she knows of at least. And so she's like, "Oh, okay. Like who do you think?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, this is what I would do in terms of like I like to draft by position, not always just best available player kind of thing." So I'm like, okay, like you might want to start like looking in this area for what you need, or like take a look at this stat where are you low in kind of thing. I'm like, if I were you, I'd kind of start to look either here or here, and here's kind of the options that I would maybe look at for what you could do there, like and who's best available to suit those needs. And for Yahoo, again, it doesn't mean anything, right? It's your way too early season predictions. Yeah. But for all the projected stats and whatnot, she was projected in first place. I was projected to be second. That did not rub well on me. I was like, okay, no, that's the last time I'm helping you. And seeing how she's done in the 3 weeks so far, I'm like, you're on your own next year.
Yeah, like that's it. Yeah. So it's like I simultaneously love and hate like going into fantasy leagues with like more casual hockey fans, because like it just like hurts my ego that like when I lose to
it's just like really an ego thing.
Yeah, exactly. But and then I don't even really take like much pride out of beating them, because I'm like, obviously like I spend hours on this, and like this person just hit start active players and like then didn't look at it and accidentally left Connor McDavid on their bench for like a busy Saturday night, right? Like it just happens. But so it's long story short, it's sometimes it just doesn't matter if you know it just happens.
Or actually, okay, like another great example, like specific to betting was remember there was one guy in the chat on the live stream on Wednesday who had just made a parlay across like a few different sports.
Yeah, because he was a football guy mostly. Yeah, football, baseball kind of.
Yeah, and he like was tuning into the watch along just because that was the one hockey game that he put money down on. He had put down for Tampa to win that game. But it was like if he stuck with it, the payout on, I think it was $20 that he put down.
20 or 25 like 20 it's 20.
Yeah, or on $20 was going to return like $500+.
Yeah.
But he definitely, I think, did the safe move, because he did pull on it when the game was tied with like 10 minutes left, I think.
Yeah.
I think he pulled the safe move. The guy still went ahead with like, I think he said like $260 or something like
Something
that.
like that. Yeah.
Like he still had a big payday thanks to DraftKings Sportsbook. But yeah, just like, and he said, he's like, yeah, I don't really know a whole lot about hockey, actually. This is just the game that I put it down on, and that's why I'm here, just to kind of see how things are going. So it's definitely possible to do well. I know even like baseball, I'm trying to get more into and that sort of thing. Early on in the MLB season, I tried to put some money down, and I kept missing, even on like what should have been fine. Like I remember there was one day, I think it was like early in the season, was the Jays, the Yankees, and the Dodgers, I think, was like a 3-game parlay that I'd made. And all those teams were doing fantastic. They were like top 2 in their divisions or that sort of thing. And that was just the one night I just lost all 3 games.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
But so it's definitely hit or miss, but like you can, like, sometimes it is just like figuring out, it's more about the actual betting strategy than it is knowing exactly what you're doing. The knowledge of the sport, though, definitely
helps. It does help. Yeah. I remember, this is the last story we'll tell, and I'll try and keep it short here. But I remember last season, someone on Reddit at the very beginning of the NFL season flipped a coin for the Las Vegas Raiders. And just heads was they win this matchup, tails they lose. And then he wrote it all down, and then he posted it on Reddit. And for like, it was something like the first like 9 games, 8 or 9 games of the season. That's what it predict. A coin flip predicted if the Raiders won or lost their game. And then he posted beside it, like, this is what, like, before the game, this is what the score was like predicted to be and who was the favorite and stuff like that. And the coin, like, most times was against the favorite. Like, sometimes it was with it, sometimes was against. So there was just like no rhyme or reason to it, but it was like heads or tails. And that was it. And the coin flip predicted the first 9 games of the season, 8 or 9. I don't remember what it was. And like, and so eventually, I think it was like week 5, I started predicting with the coin. Oh, what's the coin say? Okay, I'm just gonna put $5 down on what it says, and I did that until the coin was wrong. So I don't know. I ended up maybe up like $20 or something like that. But
hey, there you go.
It's still it was just like, it was dumb luck. I literally had not watched an NFL game outside of the Super Bowl before that in my life. So,
and like there's some of those sports like that, right, where it's like, there's, like the favorites kind of thing, right? But because it's such a team sport, it can really go either way. Like basketball is kind of the one thing that is a little bit more like, you're definitely, like, you're more than likely better off with the favorite. Just because of how the game is, right? You're normally seeing the same guys for a good chunk of the game and that sort of thing. So, but it just proves that sports are unpredictable, which is the best part about betting on them sometimes. So
sometimes,
but,
I guess because we just talked about this a little bit more as well. Gamble responsibly, everybody. Stay within your limits. all that stuff. Look at the disclaimer down at the bottom of the show notes. It has all of the quote legal stuff that we're supposed to say. But too, just from like personal me to you, gamble responsibly. Don't let it affect you. Buy your food and your rent and all that stuff first, and then, I have $5 to spare this month. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. So, which that's actually something I'm going to take a look at for a paper for a class I'm in. Actually, is just
cool.
like it's just a literature review, but I was going to take a look at like sports gambling and the effects on consumers. So.
Oh, cool. I will 100% read that when it comes out. So, okay, moving on. We got some stuff that came up on the 32 Thoughts podcast from Elliot Friedman and Jeff Merrick here on what's going on with the Ducks. So at the time they recorded their episode, the Ducks had played 7 games and obviously had not done very well in those 7 games. One 5-1 record. So, and us included, Ducks Twitter, people all over social media are calling for Dallas Eakins to be fired. And this is not maybe necessarily going to be a conversation on if he should be fired, because we talked about that on the last episode. But Friedman's, I guess, argument was like, Dallas Eakins shouldn't be judged on the first 7 games of the Ducks season, he should be judged at, say, the 40 game halfway point, the 60 game point, the 80 game mark. See, has there been improvement? Like, have the Ducks improved over the start of the season to the 40 game point? Yes or no? From 40 to 60, have they improved? Yes or no? And then 60 to the end of the season, have they improved? Yes or no? Which I think is a fair point. But immediately what comes to mind is the Ducks have had Dallas Eakins as their head coach for not just 7 games this season. It's been 3 years prior, right? But Friedman also argued like the team has undergone a huge identity change from the beginning of when we did this show and Dallas Eakins' tenure in 2019 to now. And not even just that, from last season, beginning of last season to beginning of this season, team is totally different in terms of identity and the roles that a lot of players have. Getzlaf, our captain, retired. That's a huge shoe to fill. Lindholm and Manson, huge parts of the defensive core for the last couple of years, were traded with no direct replacements for them. Raquel and Delorier were traded. Again, Raquel, goal-scoring winger, didn't really replace him until the offseason. Delorier, bottom 6, big fighting, heavy guy. We don't have that anymore. We lost Milano, big winger for Zegras. Like, we don't really have that guy with that chemistry yet anyways. So, like, that's a big change for this team between seasons. And then some of the guys needing to step up in leadership roles, like obviously with Getzlaf gone and Lindholm, Warren A, if I'm not mistaken.
I remember correctly.
Yeah. If not, I mean, he was around for a while, right? I think Raquel might have had an A as well. Or no, I don't think so. But he'd been around for a while too. So like, that's a big change to like just the veteran leadership in the room. And like, we don't really have those guys that have been around that long anymore. So like Zegras and Drysdale are kind of the guys that need to step up into the leadership role. Terry into that role too. Fowler had an A, still has an A, but like now needs to step up more. So just the whole like locker room dynamic has changed. We're definitely more of a skill-based team versus a physical hitting team that the Ducks have kind of always been. So like the team is very different just in the last 12 months. So his argument was, okay, Eakins doesn't work with a team where Getzlaf is the captain, Lindholm and Manson are your big D, we're a heavy, physical, hard to play against team. Like, we're going to be hard on the forecheck, we're going to hit you, like all that kind of stuff. But now we're not that team anymore. So his argument was kind of, okay, well, can he do something with this team? Can we take something that has no identity? Can he build an identity and then coach it to some wins? Which I think is a fair point, honestly. I don't know. What do you think?
It's kind of interesting for me just to go back to like who the leaders were, I guess, like in terms of letters.
Yeah, sure.
When we started, obviously Getzlaf until this season was the captain. 1920 was Silfverberg and Manson.
Okay. Wow.
2021 was Backus, Silfverberg, Fowler, Manson.
Okay.
Last year was Henrique, Manson, and Silfverberg. And then this year is Henrique, Silfverberg, Vetrano.
Wow, I had no idea Manson had an A, honestly. I never paid attention to that. So that is
like it is a massive
to the leadership group.
Yeah. I do want to take a quick look though, in particular, because obviously this is not the first team that Dallas Eakins has coached, as you especially know very well, Carter.
Yeah.
The Edmonton Oilers of the early mid 2010s were not great teams.
No.
But again, there were young guys there that had potential mixed in with some veterans, right? You had a 21-year-old Taylor Hall who in Eakins' first season played 75 games, put up 80 points. Right? You had a Jordan Eberle who was 23, 80 games played, 65 points. David Perron even was 25 at the time. 57 points. Right? Like, yeah, you had a very young 20-year-old Nugent Hopkins putting up 26 points in 80 games, but that was always you kind of had. Oh yeah, then you had Nail Yakupov in there as well, even playing 63 games and getting 36 points, right? Like that was your most recent draft pick at that point, right? Like
Yeah.
in that lineup, there are 3 first overall picks from the last 4 drafts at that point, right?
Yeah.
And then you had some of the more veteran guys. You had Sam Gagne putting up 41 points. You had Justin Schultz. Or I guess, sorry, Gagne and Schultz were 23, 24 at the time. Okay, let's take a look here. You had Ryan Smith.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, he was a veteran at that time.
Yeah, 37 at that time, definitely a veteran. Andrew Ferentz even at 34.
He was the captain, right?
I think for that.
It doesn't
season.
say. He
no,
should
actually,
have been.
Or would it have been Smith? Still, was Ferentz the next year maybe?
Yeah, no, you're probably right there.
Yeah. You had a Nick Schmaltz or Nick Schultz in there as well, right? Clefbaum was a young guy. Ladislav Smeed was a young guy in there. You had promise in Tyler Pitlick at the time as a 21-year-old.
Sorry, this was the first season with
Dallas
Eakins?
The first season of Dallas Eakins. Like, so there are like
there's a lot of comparables to this current Ducks team now.
Yeah, it's like you had some good guys, and you also had some goalies that played decent, but just didn't really have a whole lot of help in front, right? Like, like Ben Scrivens, I remember was traded that season. His first game, he set the record for most saves in a shutout for the NHL, not just the Oilers.
Yeah, it was like 50 some.
Right, which I think has only been beaten one time now. You had a decent goalie in a Devin Dubnyk before he went to Minnesota there. Even had Ilya Brizgalov, who could play decent hockey. We know that. And yeah, like Scrivens there is the best, but kind of a smaller thing of like 21 games, but like a 916. Like you had decent goalies and like decent players and that sort of thing, but still came out and he would do one more partial season in Edmonton, finishing with a 36, 63 and 14 record.
That is rough.
Like there were good guys on that team, right? Young guys and some good veteran presence that could still contribute, right? Put up a 318 points percentage under Dallas Eakins.
Wow, that's rough. Yeah.
And at this point now with the Anaheim Ducks, 78 wins, 106 losses, and 33 overtime losses in 217 games coached for a 435 point percentage.
So not much better, really.
Like it's not as much, right? Like 113 games compared to 217, but the 217 does kind of show that 113 maybe wasn't necessarily a product of the team itself. There were a lot of things going on in Edmonton.
Yeah.
But you could argue that
things didn't get resolved when Dallas Eakins moved on either. So
but you could argue as well that there's been a lot of things going on in Anaheim over the last couple of years, right?
Yeah.
Bob Murray's kind of that same GM that's not really wanting to shuffle on certain things and kind of holding you back in some respects, right? He's not drafting a Nail Yakupov when he probably shouldn't, but just like he's kind of holding your team back a little bit there. And just like kind of things changing kind of over the course of a year or two and whatnot. But like that Oilers team might actually even be a decent comparable, just because like Dallas Eakins is the coach of both of those and it's similar situations all around.
Yeah. No, that's true.
If we're on the train at this point, go for Bedard, right? Tank for Bedard. That's the memes that's getting thrown in on every single like final result on Twitter, right? Is okay, we're tanking for Bedard and that kind of thing. And I think, was it on the last episode I talked about, it's, you know, if you're playing good games and like you're losing to Tampa Bay like 4-2, right, with an empty net goal in there, right? But like it's a good game, right? Like you're disappointed, obviously you lost, but you shouldn't be disappointed in your play whatsoever.
Yeah,
If
it comes
that's
to like the moral victories, right?
yeah,
Where
like which does suck to talk about,
yeah,
honestly, because like I like
especially
actual
after 4
victory.
years, right?
Yeah, but like those I can stomach. And I was talking about how like if it's embarrassing loss after embarrassing loss, though, things have to change. And we've definitely seen those embarrassing losses, right?
Yeah.
Like Detroit's supposed to be a team that's in the same position as us, right? Like on the up. They've made improvements, right? With a new GM in there now for, mind you, they've had Eisman for a couple more seasons, but that kind of idea, right? Like, and they really stripped things down, right? At least we had like a kind of a basis that was already begun that could be built upon. We got hammered by them, what, 5-2? Right?
I think so, something like that.
Yeah, like
5-1, 5-1.
Yeah, okay, here. So again, before Toronto, let's read through the scores here. The one win, Seattle, 5-4 in overtime, if I remember.
Yep.
Yeah, in overtime. Next, you lose to the Islanders 7-1. That's a defensive team, right? Again, new head coach, that's going to allow them to be more offensive, but that's like those players' play style is more defensive. You then lose to the Rangers 4-6, which looks better, but if you watch the game, like
it wasn't at all.
It was too late.
It was a bad game by the Rangers.
You lose to New Jersey, who they want Lindy Ruff gone more than Ducks fans want Dallas Eakins gone. And you lose to them, right? And give New Jersey their first win of the season. You have a good game against Boston, arguably the best game of, honestly, I would say since last November.
Yep.
That's your best game that you've played. You lose 2-1 in a shootout. And you have John Gibson to thank for that game in particular, right?
Oh, yeah.
The rest of the game was kind of like that should have been a different score. Then you lose to Detroit 5-1. Sorry, not 5-2. And then you have a closer game against Tampa, and now you get blown 4-0 against Vegas. 2 goals, 5-on-5, 1 on the power on Vegas's power play, and 1 on your own power play shorthanded. So we have Toronto in a couple hours here from when we're recording. That's a team that's on the second half of back-to-back. They're about to play their third string goalie against us. Shalgren will be starting that game. Apparently Toronto's historically not great on Sundays, so like there's the potential for Anaheim to do okay. I'm still sticking with my thing, though, that they're going to lose that game because it's also the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? They have some offensive firepower, and our defensive system doesn't work. This might be the game that kicks Toronto's ass kind of thing and gets them really going, because they're a team that's kind of, for what they should be, have struggled.
Yeah.
The games that I'm looking at here are these next 3. We don't have to go super deep into them. We'll go into the one team in particular. San Jose, Vancouver, San Jose again. The San Jose games in particular, because Vancouver, I'm still sticking by for now my idea that Vancouver could be a playoff team, right? Could be in that top 3, because we saw once Bruce Boudreau took over last year, it is possible, right, for that team to be good as constructed. Yeah. It's very possible. So I'm holding my breath there. San Jose, though, we are supposed to be well above them. They've played more games, but their point percentage is better than us.
Yeah.
Right. And like they've at least, like they're doing better in the standings. If either of those games, especially if both of those games against San Jose in particular, are embarrassing losses. I don't care that you're going for Bedard. You can do it still with how the team is constructed because it's not a great team. There's potential, but it's not a great team. You can do it with a different coach.
Yeah.
So it's not that we're judging after 7 games. It's that there's precedent for Dallas Eakins in similar situations with similar types of rosters, with similar things going on around and whatnot. If it's not embarrassing losses, we're having Eakins for the rest of the season, right?
Yeah.
Like that's where I'm saying it has to be embarrassing losses for him to get fired. And I think those games coming up against San Jose in particular are the ones that we're going to be looking at.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I agree for sure, because like look, while I agree with the whole identity thing that they were talking about here, there's you'll be able to tell after, well, we'll be 12 games, an eighth of the way through the season ish, if this team has developed any sort of identity and guys stepping up into roles, and that's Eakins' job, is to establish that, right? So it's I think I agree with you there, but if the tables do start to turn, that's when you can maybe say, okay, we'll hit the 40, 60, 80 game marks. So
yeah, if there's improvement and you're still losing, okay, whatever. But if there's no improvement, like again, we keep talking especially about the defensive system, but we are talking more about the offense and how it just seems to be just generate chances, doesn't matter if they're good or bad kind of thing, which good is better, obviously. If like the mentality around how you play, I guess, doesn't change, then it needs to. And it's not going to unless you get rid of him. So
yeah, like a Bruce Boudreau and a John Tortorella give teams an identity.
Yeah.
Dallas Eakins is
the
like
Flyers should not be where the fuck they are right now.
Yeah.
But John Tortorella is able to get blood out of a stone.
Yeah, exactly.
And that team is, where are they sitting right now? Last I saw, they were still like top 3 in their division.
Yeah, I think that's probably pretty close. And like
the Philadelphia Flyers are currently sitting 2nd in the Metro.
Yeah.
By the way, for New Jersey, that loss that we had against them kickstarted them to becoming 1st in the Metro as of today.
I think that was the start of a win streak for them, honestly.
Yeah, they are 6-3-0 now.
Yeah, and they started 0-3. So
Detroit is in a playoff spot currently, 4-2-2. The Islanders are in a playoff spot right now, 5-4-0.
Sorry, 0-2, and then they won 3 games, lost to Washington, won the next 3 games. The Devils did.
Yeah.
So they've won since beating us. They've went 6-1.
Yeah. But like I name off those teams in particular because you're like, oh, they're in the playoffs, like they should be good teams. They're not supposed to be good. They're not supposed to be the teams that are there.
But they have an identity, right? And
exactly.
Like Vancouver is a bit of an outlier because they lost the first 7 games, but they still had an identity in those games. They just like sucked at holding a lead, right? So
and Boston, especially, like that team has an identity that has stuck with them for years, right?
Yeah,
they will out-muscle you and they will out-skill you if they have the chance.
Yeah, I have this vision in my head, and I don't know where it's from, but like I feel like there's an animated short of just a bunch of like gray blobs, and then there's like one, and it's like kind of a grayscale animation, and then there's like one like person that's in color or something like that. And I don't know, it's like a metaphor for something. I don't know what it is, but like the color then like, gradually takes over like the gray blobs. I feel like Dallas Eakins is just that gray blob,
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that he's imprinting on anything. He's just like existing, right?
Yeah.
Like with the team, like I'm sure he has a personality or whatever, but like he's not giving the team an identity. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Enough about that. That was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. But
speaking of San Jose, on Tuesday, you can catch that at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. Erik Karlsson's doing great.
Yeah.
But that's about it for San Jose. That's all you need to know.
James Reimer actually has been
and James
pretty
Reimer.
good.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but like outside of those two, this team is about where they should be.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to be hopeful. I'm going to predict 3-2 for Anaheim because they will still play down, even though they have nothing to play down to. Currently, this is a team that you should be playing up to. I'm just going to be hopeful on it. Yeah, 3-2 Anaheim for that Tuesday game.
Yeah, that's a decent prediction, I think. I am still going to predict Anaheim until they win, just because I want to be optimistic. So in terms of final score for this one, it's Tuesday, you said?
Yeah.
The San Jose have back-to-back situation going on.
I don't believe so.
No, lost to Tampa Bay Saturday, 2 days off, then Anaheim, and then a day off Florida. Okay, so middle of a homestand against your rival. I'm saying I kind of also want to say 3-2. Can I pick the same score? Is that
sure? Go for it.
I always like to do something different, but in this case, we'll do the same. Sorry, I'll make this bigger. I realized it's not quite big enough for people to see. There we go. Okay. I guess that's the only one we have to predict. Hey.
Yeah.
You got close on these ones here. 4-2 Tampa. 5. You predicted 5-2. You predicted 4-1 against Vegas. It was 4-0. So not too shabby. Hey, you were actually close with Detroit too. Close.
Yeah, 5. I said 5-3. Yeah. It was so 5-1.
You're slowly creeping closer. 4-2 against New Jersey. Yeah, that's so I think you'll get one of these ones soon. I'm hoping it's the 3-2 one so that I can also
so that you can get it.
Yeah. So
why do I get the feeling it's going to be Toronto here in a couple hours?
Time will tell. Time will tell.
Oh, all right. Quick, what's quacking here? All right, so today's what's quacking. Like Carter said, we're normally going to be doing these just on Wednesday, but there was a clip from past, I guess, employee of the Anaheim Ducks, Daryl Sutter, that was too good to pass up.
Yeah.
So this is coming after the game last night of Calgary versus Edmonton. That's for a brief moment of time in the first period, a couple minutes there. Jonathan Huberdeau had gone down to the Flames locker room, and he did kind of have a bump earlier, if I remember correctly, in that game. But there were a lot of questions. Is it an equipment thing? Is he not feeling great? The trainer did go down, so people were definitely worried for a little bit. Anyway, so during Sutter's press conference last night, member of the media did ask him, where did Huberdeau go at that point, right? Like what was going on? So I do have the clip here. I'm just trying to pull it up. Okay, here we go. So this is again the Daryl Sutter press conference from Saturday night.
Huberdeau left the bench for a little bit in the first period. Are you able to say what it was?
I think he had to go take a shit.
I think you got to play that one more time just for the people that aren't from Alberta, that can't understand the Alberta accent and aren't watching for the captions here.
Okay, one more time here.
Huberdeau left the bench for a little bit in the first period. Are you able to say what it was?
I think he had to go take a shit.
I think he had to go take a shit. And just okay, I'm just gonna go back just a little bit here, just like partway through the quote. Just listen after the fact.
He had to go take a shit.
Silence.
Everyone had to be too stunned to not laugh at that.
When I've never heard those words come from a coach. Like when nothing even remotely close to that.
Like I know there's been instances of like guys having to leave to like go to the bathroom or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There was the one of Roberto Luongo when he was in Vancouver. I think it was like going into overtime and the backup goalie came out. I forget who it was at the time. But everyone's like, where's Luongo? What happened? Kind of thing. And he like Luongo was able to come back for overtime, and I think the Canucks won that game. With Luongo back in net there. This is why you carry a backup goalie, people. But so Luongo said after though that his stomach was not doing great, and he had like horrible diarrhea basically that he had to like strip out of all his gear and go kind of thing.
But that's coming from the source, right? That's not coming from the coach.
Sutter I think he had to go take a shit. You
like,
could find
is that actually what happened, or is that what?
Or is that like Sutter
is he just saying like
up kind of thing?
Like what a stupid question. I'm not going to tell you. Oh yeah, he's in concussion protocol, or like his arm got twisted, or like whatever. Like he's not where he doesn't want to say that, so he's just like, I just want to get them to not ask me about Huberdeau anymore, so we're just going to say that.
I think for Sutter though, like if he thinks you're asking a stupid question, like he'll let you know you're asking a stupid question.
But is this his way of letting you know?
No, I genuinely think he might be telling the truth there, but like just the way that he addressed it was just like Daryl Sutter is very blunt, I guess, when he wants to be very honest. He has a way with words, that's for sure. You can go on YouTube and find like people call them Sutterisms. You can find like compilations of Sutterisms, and they're fantastic. And this is just gonna get added to the list. It's not even a Sutterism. It's just him being brutally honest, but like it's definitely getting added. So yeah. Oh, that was too good to pass up. We didn't want to leave that one until Wednesday, just for how fresh that Dookie was. So
yeah, that's a good one. I love Daryl Sutter. Like
he's so good.
Everyone loves him. He's loved around the league just for shit like this. It's so funny.
Yeah. It would have been nice to have him as the coach in Anaheim, not the advisor.
Imagine?
But
could you imagine? We just as Ducks fans,
it would be so interesting.
As Ducks fans, and I mean I can pray for this. I have no attachment to Daryl Sutter, but I'm praying that the Flames just go on like a terrible 20-game losing streak at some point this season, out of the playoffs. And then they fire Sutter, and then Pat Verbeek is like, hey, what's up? You up? Text him at midnight after he's fired. You up?
You're a little too hopeful there. Sutter did get extended 2 years, like 2 or 3 years, I think it was. And I think Sutter had said like after his time in LA that like the only two places that he would go to coach would have been like back to Calgary and Chicago where he played. So but wishful thinking for sure.
I know.
It's definitely one of those like, oh, like what if like Daryl Sutter was the head coach of the Anaheim Ducks? Like how could this team look right now? It'd be interesting. So
yeah, definitely. All right. Well, that is the episode here. We will be back on Wednesday for a live stream, 7 p.m. Pacific on YouTube at Quack Report Pod, as well on Twitter and Instagram and Twitch at the same handle there as well. And merch, tqrshop.myspreadshop.com. Hoping the Mighty Collection will be out soon, as well as another one there for you guys. Nate, if people want to let you know when they are going to take shit, where can they do that at?
I think there's apps for that. We did one with a buddy of ours for a little bit.
That's
I
right.
remember it was like how like it's like describe it and whatnot. Anyway, if you really want to let me know though how it is, or that you're gonna go take one, you can tweet at me at Tatenomas, TATENHOMAS, and just put us back to the early days of Twitter when that's the updates you would get there. So it's just like, oh, so and so about to go take a dump. Just enjoyed the freshest dump of my life.
Yeah. And you can follow myself at Carter_Potts, POTTS_97 on Twitter there. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Monday edition of the Quack Report. We'll see you on Wednesday for a live stream, and go Ducks go.